What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric. Today, my brother Chris and I are going to be reviewing a new brand for you guys. At least it's brand new here on the channel for us. This is Rutsu. So we're reviewing their high top canvas barefoot sneakers. So we're excited that there's another entry into this market. We've got a few high top sneakers from different brands like Splay and Feelgrounds, and we're excited to have another one to compare with all of those. Chris and I are going to go back and forth talking about the things that we like and dislike about these shoes. There's timestamps in the description if you want to go and jump around, but I'm going to send it over to him now to start you off with his likes.
Getting into my likes of the Rutsu original high top, the first thing that I want to mention is just the form factor. I'm a huge fan of the idea of a cotton canvas high top barefoot shoe. So it's got the barefoot features that I need in it, and then it comes in this form factor of that cotton canvas high top. Another one that we've reviewed recently is the Splay Rev. Love that shoe as well because of its form factor, and these two will definitely get a toe-to-toe at some point. Huge fan of companies that are doing this. Feelgrounds needs to be next with their courtside canvas, make that bad boy a high top, and we're gonna have some really good competitive offerings in this specific form factor. The next thing that I want to mention here is the minimalism of this shoe. So we have a 5mm base stack height, and we're guessing a 5mm insole. That insole is a little bit hefty, but you can switch that out with some other insoles from some other companies in order to get a little bit closer to the ground as you're wearing this guy. But that minimalism is going to lead to lots of really good ground feel and fantastic flexibility. Those are things that are important to me when it comes to my more casual shoes. I want to be able to feel the ground. I want the shoe to bend and flex with my foot, and this guy delivers on that minimalism. The last thing I'm going to mention here is the performance of this outsole. This thing is very grippy, and I don't know if it's necessarily the pattern that's on the bottom here or if it's the materials that they used in the rubber of this shoe. It is a little bit of a softer rubber, so while that's not going to last as long for you, it's not going to be as durable as some other rubbers, it is going to be extremely grippy. But where you're probably not going to be using this thing for anything too extreme, it should last you a good long time, even though it's a little bit of a softer rubber. Another thing that I'll say about that grippiness is it makes it so that the shoe is pretty versatile. I do like to lift in the gym in a shoe like this. Same thing with the Rev, same thing with the courtside canvas, which is not a high top, but is very close to this shoe. Lifting those shoes is very nice because they are grippy, and I love that cotton canvas structure that they have. This is no different. It supplies plenty of grip and anchor to the ground, but then I also love it for electric longboarding. I've fallen in love with electric longboarding recently. It's been super fun, and it is very important to have nice grippy shoes that keep you anchored to the board while you're out on long rides, while you're carving, or if you have a board like mine and you can go off-road on it. Things get a little bit bumpy, and it's important to stay in control of your board, and the grippy outsole lets me do that.
Alright, so when it comes to the things that I like about the Rutsu original high top, the first one is just the style. The first thing that jumped out to me about these shoes, and one of the big reasons why we reached out, is the way that they look. So I think that they're just killing it aesthetically. This is a really awesome, really good looking shoe. They also just dropped a bunch of new colorways. So originally I got this tan one. You can see it on my B-roll footage. I'm rocking one of those new red pairs that they have. So originally they had this tan one, a green one, and a gray one. And now they've got black on black, they've got black and gum, and they also have the red and gum. There's also a corduroy version. That one's a little bit more expensive, but it looks pretty cool. They also have a few different style choices for you. So there is a low cut version, and then you've got this high top, and then they have an extra high top as well. And that brings me to my next thing that I like about these shoes, and it's the price point that they come in at. So these ones come in at $80, right in line with like Splay shoes and the more affordable barefoot shoes out there. Barefoot shoes are notoriously expensive, and these ones are on the more affordable side of that. So we appreciate that about them. And I think that the way that they're constructed also gives them some extra value at that price point. So they have side stitching on all of their shoes, which is just so much better than only gluing the sole to the upper. And so for them to come in at that price point at $80 and then also has side stitching provides a lot of value. And it's kind of cool the way that it sits, like when you consider Splay, Feelgrounds, and Rutsu. Now Splay shoes are around the same price point, but they don't have the side stitching. Feelgrounds are more expensive, but they do have the side stitching. So now we've got a little bit of balance with with the Rutsu, and we appreciate that about them. I also like the materials that it's been made out of, so it's pretty simple. You've just got a nice cotton canvas upper and then a rubber outsole. No lining or anything like that inside. It's just a simple sneaker made out of natural materials, and we really like that about it too. As far as the sizing goes, I'm a US men's size 9. That's what I got in the shoe, and it fits me perfectly. They don't have half sizes. I would think that with this one, if you are at a half size, you probably want to go to the bigger size. All right, before we get on to our dislikes of these shoes, we did want to mention some affiliates that we have going on with the channel right now. Rutsu is one of those newer affiliates, so use that link down in our description to get to their website. Those affiliate links really help the channel out. It puts more gear into our hands, more reviews out for you guys. Take a look behind me and you see all these various brands of boxes that we have back here. We've got a link for pretty much all of those brands. So if any of them pique your interest, then definitely go and check that out. We also think that the perfect companion to a barefoot shoe is a good toe sock, and Creeper's toe socks are our favorite toe socks. Of the 20 plus toe socks that we've tried now, those are the ones that consistently come out on top. So again, use the link down in the description to go and check those out. Now let's send it over to Chris to start us off with his dislikes.
Getting into my dislikes of the shoe, the first thing I'm going to mention is an issue I've had with almost all cotton canvas barefoot shoes that I have tried so far. Same issue with Display Rev, same issue with the courtside canvas from Feelgrounds. The tongue moves, and on this specific shoe, you'll see in all of my footage that the tongue moves over to the right side of my shin. That's very uncomfortable. I wish these companies would just sew the tongue down. Doesn't have to be up both sides or all the way up or anything like that. Sew it down on one side halfway up, and this will completely get rid of that issue. I would love to see a tongue in a canvas shoe that doesn't slide around on my shin. The next thing I want to mention is that while this shoe is definitely wider than mainstream brands out there like Vans as one example, it isn't quite foot shaped. It does definitely slope on both sides to a point here. I'd love to see the toe either moved out on this side or a little bit more width over on the outside. If I'm going for full toe splay in this shoe, my pinky toe will rub the outer edge of this shoe, and I don't like that. The last thing I want to mention is a slight durability concern. This is a new colorway from Rutsu. They just sent these out to us, and while I was putting on the left one, I ripped off the pull tab. I think this may be a one and done issue because I don't have this problem at all with the pair of green ones that you've seen in this video, and even the right one hasn't had any problems with me yanking on this pull tab, having it rip off. I did end up just cutting it all the way off in the end, and I'll probably do that with the right one so that I can still wear these because I think they look good and they feel good in general, but obviously that's a bit of a cosmetic issue and does give me some concern when it comes to the long-term durability of these shoes.
All right, when it comes to my dislikes of the shoe, there's really only two things that I can think of. The first one is I wish there was a different balance between the outsole and the insole. So it is a 5mm outsole, and then you also have a 5mm insole, and for me that's just a little too squishy. So when I put my foot into the shoe, I just don't like how much compression there is because of how thick that insole is. So I would rather, if it's going to be a 10mm stack height overall, add a little bit to the outsole to give it some extra durability, and then just take a little bit from the insole so that there's not quite as much squish. That's just a personal thing. Maybe you will like it. I think that the reason they did that is pretty clever because they're trying to make it customizable. If you really want a barefoot feel, then you can take out that insole, and now you've got 5mm of rubber underneath your foot. It's going to be super flexible. You're going to get a ton of ground fill. But if you need to transition into barefoot shoes, or you like some squish under your foot, then you've got the insole there for you. For me, it was just a little bit too thick. And then the second thing is just the shape of the toe box. It is wide, and this is a wide shoe throughout as well. It doesn't really taper in the midfoot, so if you have wider mid feet, like a lot of people in our comment section talk about, then this is definitely a good option for you. But I wish that this was just a little more foot shaped. I get a tiny bit of rubbing over where all this material is sewn together right here, and if it pushed out just a little bit more and didn't come to quite as much of a point as it does, then that would suit my foot better. There definitely are people out there whose toes are going to fit into this thing perfectly. It is a wide shoe. I just wish for my feet it was shaped a little bit differently.
Getting into my final opinion on the Rutsu Original High Top, would I recommend this shoe to somebody who's looking for something like this? I would say yes, and I am going to bring into factor the price point of this thing. I think that definitely makes this worth it. Coming in at $79, which is less than the $88 you would spend on the Splay Rev. You get a little bit more minimalism out of this guy, although not quite as much foot shapedness. I like it. I think this is a really cool offering that's out there on the market. Huge fan of Rutsu so far. Would love to see them come out with some more stuff, maybe a little bit of a wider toe box. That's my big sticking point with this shoe. But outside of that, if you're not requiring a super massively wide toe box, I think that this Barefoot shoe is pretty good to go.
All right, so when it comes to my final opinion of the Rutsu Original High Top, would I recommend it for other people? Definitely. I think that this is a great looking shoe. So this is one of the few shoes that my wife has actually complimented, so that is definitely a testament to the way that they look. I think for the price point that it's at, with the side stitching that it has, there's a lot of value there. And I do think that it's comfortable to wear, although I would take a little bit less squish from that insole, and I would take a little bit more foot shape out of the toe box. But if they improved those two things, then this one would be a complete knockout, especially for the way that it looks and the price that it's at.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.